Hi guys, so this is the second part of canonization. Make sure you have your religion notebook with you, a pen or a pencil. You may continue where we left off last time in our notebook, or if you need to open to a brand new page, go ahead and do so and copy down the objective. Today's objective is I can explain the process of canonizations, parentheses, venerable. I'll say it one more time. I can explain the process of canonization, parentheses, venerable. Go ahead and repeat it with me this last time. I can explain the process of canonization, parentheses, venerable. So let's do a quick review. Canonization, remember, is the process of becoming a saint. So now we're going to talk about phase 2. Remember, there are 4 major steps in order to reach sainthood. We already talked about the first half, the first phase, or the first step, which is when they're declared servant of God. And remember, there needs to be 5 years after the person's death. They open up the investigation from their local community or diocese, and they start doing the report, the Pushito, and they send it to the Vatican. And then once they open the case, that's when they are declared servant of God, right? And then so we're here, the candidate's been declared servant of God, and now we want to start phase 2. So phase 2 consists of when we talk about the congregation for the causes of saints. So phase 2 is the causes of saints congregation receives a pushito, and first off, the 9 theologians need to vote on that report. So they read it, they study it, they examine, they do a fact check. So remember, the theologians are the experts of religion. So we have these 9 experts of religion studying this report. And once they finish studying, they take a vote on it. And if the majority of them are in favor, then it's examined by the cardinals and bishops of that same congregation. So once it gets to them, if the majority of them vote yes to continue passing the report, once the report gets passed by them, they start gathering more information. They start gathering information on the candidate's writing and other parts of his or her life, and they're studied to make sure that anything that they said, wrote, has never gone against any teachings of the practices of the Catholic Church. So remember, you guys, this part of the process doesn't necessarily take a week or a month or even a year. This could take many years because they're thoroughly checking everything that this candidate has written, said, or done. So they want to be careful, and they want to make extra sure that they have never said anything against the teachings or the practice of the Catholic Church. So in this part of the investigation, when they're doing a deep dive into the person's life, they hired a person, what we would call a devil's advocate. And the devil advocate's only job is to raise questions and objections against the candidate's sainthood. So their only purpose is to, let's say, their job is to find some sort of like negative about the candidate, to make sure that they will go against everything that the candidate has done good. They will try to trick their way to see if there's any way that they could be taken out of the process of canonization. But they do this just to make sure that they have done a very thorough job of investigating the candidate's life. So they're not doing it just to be mean about it. They're doing it to make sure they cover like all their bases and they have done the investigation correctly. So once they make sure that the evidence is correct and the final decision complete and fair, the candidate needs to be determined virtuous and heroic in their faith. And what we mean by heroic is not necessarily how we say like being a hero. It means heroic in their faith is that they have, like, for example, they have given up everything to follow Jesus and to go live with the poor and preach the gospel. That will be a person, we will consider a person being heroic, ones who does that, to give up everything, the comforts of life, to go preach the gospel. And if the committee and the poll agree that the candidate did indeed live a life of virtue, the candidate is now declared venerable. So they officially pass phase 2 of canonization. And remember, venerable means that this person is worthy of our respect because because of his or her noble character. So that's what the word venerable means. It means that they are worthy of our respect. And remember the example that I gave you so you guys won't forget what venerable means is that once we enter the church, when we pass the altar, you need to stop in front of the altar and genuflect. You're showing respect towards the altar. So when you wanted to remember what the word venerable means, go ahead and think about when you bow a little bit towards the altar and how you're showing respect. So it's the same thing. Venerable means to be respectful, that they're worthy of our respect. So make sure you go into Seesaw because we saw this video together, but I will post it again on Seesaw so you could rewatch it. And then I would like you to upload your notes to Seesaw. Make sure you be neat as possible. And also go ahead and watch this video again and tell me 2 to 3 things that you have learned so far from this video or from my lesson.